Hi guys, one of the things we wanted to try and get done this year was a pond dug in the garden. We've been here about 8 years and really missed the old pond that we had back in the old place. So started digging. The pond's going to be pretty much from that corner, and it will run across right into the corner over there and then down into here, and then all the way across down into the corner here. And well, the last time I dug a pond was 20 years ago, and it was in chalk, and it was a big pond, probably, I don't know, 20 by 16 and 3.5 to 4 foot deep. Digging in chalk is it's with a sharp spade you can cut through it okay, and it's not too heavy lifting chalk out into a barrow. This time we're in pretty heavy clay, and I've just taken out some soil here in sections. And actually it's quite interesting, you can see if you look at the colours, there's the little bit of topsoil underneath it. That darker bit of soil is it's a mixture of soil and coke, I guess from the fires that they would have had here years ago. Originally this was a small holding with one property, and over the years it was split up into 3 properties with separate gardens. And then you get down into the clay, and then the real thick heavy clay down there. That hole from the bottom just down there to the top edge there is 3 foot. Now we're going to be edging this with a row of sleepers all the way around the edge, and then another row on top, and that will give us very nearly 4 foot. Probably the pond liner will come up over the first sleeper and tuck in, and then the top sleeper on top of that, so we get some sort of neat edge. Well, that was the idea. Well, the original idea was to go down a bit deeper than this, but you can see a couple of weeks ago I had to stop digging just because the old back was playing up again. I started a couple of days ago. You can see here this was a nice neat side, just like you've got down there, but as the clay dries out it just goes like that, crumbly, and just breaks up quite easily. So it's something to bear in mind if you are digging a pond in clay. If you are going to have to stop work for any reason, make sure you have not gone back the full width of or length of the pond. So if you do have to leave it and it starts crumbling away like this, that's gone back probably 4 to 6 inches from where I originally had cut it nice and flush there. So as I say, if you do have to leave a pond that you're digging, make sure you've got plenty left. So I've got from here to the grass, and we'll really probably go back another 6-8 inches, and if I can't do it all then and I have to leave it, we'll leave that soil there. And the only time I'll cut that last section out is pretty much the day we fit the liner, because you do not want it drying out and putting a liner into to this. Now this garden is prone to flooding. You probably won't be able to see the lie of the land there, but just to the right of Madam and about 30 foot further on there's a bit of a dip, and normally that floods without fail every year, and we can have a bit of a lake from one side right the way over to the other side. And some years it's been there till June, which is a nightmare when you're trying to cut the grass. Well, basically you can't cut the grass, so a bit of a problem. This year it hasn't flooded, which is good, but what I've realised is this 3 foot depth is actually down to the water table. I don't know whether you can see the water, I'll just drop that in. So that is the water table. So fairly disastrous, because if you can't lay a liner down on the water table, because the liner will just be forced up a bit by the water that's underneath it. So yeah, I can't go down any further than that at the moment. But I suspect the issue is, what do you do if the water table is lower than normal? You know, it could be up here normally during a fairly wet year. So I'm hoping, if the liner gets laid when the water's at that level, it won't move when the water level goes up. But I'm not convinced. I think I'll have to consult some experts on that one, because there's no point, if the water level was a foot higher than that normally, and the liner's tempted to be pushed up, it's going to be fairly disastrous. Anyway, so this was just going to be a series of pictures on my forum, but as I say, somebody said, well, why don't you just do a film of progress? So that's what I'm doing. Just had to get a new wheelbarrow. The old one, as you can see, is pretty knackered. This one is from Wix, and it's about 50 quid. The nice thing about this one is it has a solid wheel. It's not pneumatic, so it can never get a puncture and go down, which this other one was doing continuously. Now, they did do a larger version of this, but you'll see this is an 85 litre barrow. Now, when that's full up with clay, that's about all I can manage, because it's got to go then right down the end of the garden onto the pile of soil I'm building up down there. So I think, unless you're really fit and strong and not 53, probably stick with the 85 litre barrow. I found the easiest thing to do to cut the clay out in sections was a fairly straight angled sharp spade with a long handle, and then to shovel it out, just the standard shovel, but it's got a much shorter handle, and means you can really get down into the hole and not keep wrapping your knuckles on the wall of the dig. Yeah, so I've covered it obviously with a gazebo, so I'm not stuck in the sun all the time working on this, and that's pretty much where we are. As you can see the size of it. As I say, it's going to be two rows of sleepers on top of each other, and if that water table does come up, or after I've consulted people about it, I might have to just make the pond a little bit shallower. I don't know whether you can sling large pebbles gently onto the liner when it's installed, just to hold it down, or whether that water pressure will just mean it bubbles up, gets pushed up anyway. So yeah, a bit annoying that. Anyway, so yeah, that's it, and I'll do an update on this as we progress. The idea is to have a raised bed area here in front of this empty old asbestos roofed building. What I'm going to do is have 3 barrels in there as the filters. There's a very good YouTube series of videos on YouTube from a guy who has made up his own filtration system quite cheaply, so that will be going in there. It will then feed out through the walls, and where I've started mounding that soil, we're going to have sleepers coming down this way across the front here, and again down the side, probably built up to 2.5, 3 foot high, and then we'll have a series of waterfalls, whatever, they'll come through this what's currently the flower bed, and the pond will be running across here, and that will just cascade down from there. So that's the idea. It's just whether I'm fit enough to dig it, really, is the main issue. We can get a digger a small mini digger off of a friend who's in the tool hire industry. It's about £200 a week, and seriously considering that. It would be a hell of a lot easier. Yep, anyway, I'll keep you updated if anyone's interested in a bit of a pond dig. Catch you later.